Hustle. Giving a shout out right now to SPR, Sparta Low. Y'all already know what it is. Sauce and Nip Hustle. Big shout out to SPR, Sparta Low. You know I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
All that and then some to the income. Hit the YouTube streets, find the Conan Band 1. This time we finna put right up on Spotify. Billions of streams, fake streams exposed. It's not a long video, but in the light of the Kendrick Drake fiasco, and Drake basically was a whistleblower like a broad, as if he hasn't participated or benefited from the same system that he was reportedly complaining about, blew my mind. I'm just suspicious that this video is going to be in some regards related to that. I could be totally wrong, but that's kind of like what led me to try to kind of like want to react to it. For long myself looked at the industry as a talent show, and so many still do, but it's not. It's big business. It's an industry. And even though payola is supposed to be a bad thing, pay for play is what every industry is based upon. You can't go into no company and say, hey, I'm great at what I do, and you need to let me participate in what you got to offer as far as promotion of my greatness. Nah, it's always a business transaction. But with no further ado, let's see what they say. Spotify has been up to.
So Spotify is having a real bad week. In the same week, Spotify gets hit with 2 massive lawsuits. Now, one of them has to do with allegedly what's going on with your royalties and the fact that, well, you haven't received what is due to you. Now, the other one we're going to talk about as well, but we're going to focus on this first one, at least to start. So you guys remember with the Drake lawsuit, we were covering that for I don't know, the last year on him initially starting to make these claims about Spotify and being like, I think my label
Drake, I had no idea right off the top. I told y'all I had a feeling it was going to be to some degree related to that.
is in cahoots with Spotify and doing backdoor deals having to do with the Kendrick Lamar Not Like a Song. And so he kept shouting this from the rooftops, and we were just kind of like, well, if you're saying this is what Universal is allegedly doing with this song that doesn't say very nice things about you, and you want to sue for defamation, then you did sue for defamation, that whole thing happened. But nonetheless, we go, it sounds like you're spilling the tea about what your label does, and you probably know what they do because they've done it for you. That all matters because it's now kind of coming back around.
Exactly. He just got too emotionally engaged in the whole situation and blew up the spot.
In that, part of this lawsuit is the allegation that there are billions in the B's of botted fake streams that were given to Drake. And Drake, in fact, has, benefited from all of the fraud and scheming that's been happening on Spotify. So in the major class action lawsuit that was filed against Spotify, this was just a few days ago, the central allegation has to do that Spotify knows about just obviously this platform-wide fake streaming activity, right? The bot streams. Now, I've been talking about this for the last couple of years on this channel, having to do with all the fights that I have on behalf of you guys when your stuff gets taken down for fraudulent claims that aren't true. So your music gets taken down, and then your distributor takes your royalties because they're like, we got an email from Spotify saying you did the naughty things. And then turns out you didn't. Turns out you paid for ads on, Meta. So anyway, that's a side issue. But in any case, the allegation is that all of this platform-wide botting has been ignored. And in the kind of what is Spotify ignoring but is aware of theme, we've also talked about AI bans on the platform that were violating the terms of service, and Spotify didn't seem to be doing anything about that. So in the realm of do we believe this? I don't know. What do you think? Drop a comment down below. Now, what we do know is that the streaming economy for music creators is, well, kind of the whole shebang. While we teach here, sell before you stream. Before you put your music onto music platforms, make sure you put it on your website or Bandcamp and get your fans to support you, because really you should be treating these streaming platforms like advertising, because you're really not going to make a lot of money there. But nonetheless, this is where people put their music, and a lot of times they don't do any of those pre-steps. So it's kind of the whole shebang depending on if you're going to make anything. And it's a shared pool. That's why this matters. So in the class action lawsuit, they're like, it's a shared pool. And well, if you're taking out of the pool for arguably the most streamed artist on the planet, being Drake, that dilutes everybody else. And if there have in fact been billions of fake streams, that has literally taken money out of our pockets as independent creators. Now, the complaint was brought by RBX. Okay, so this is West Coast rapper, and this is Snoop Dogg's cousin. We were kind of
No, RBS, come on, man. I know this nigga not coming complaining about no streams. You was a part of a great, great thing in a heyday a long time ago. And this how your name come back up in the That's shocking to say the least.
looking at this from, well, do we believe this? Because it's a class action. It's not just one person or a couple of people. This is an important thing. Saying, no, I'm bringing this on behalf of a whole lot more people and creators than just myself. And so what are the claims? The claims are that Spotify has failed to actually prevent the fake streams, the botting. And so again, this has taken money out of independent creators' pockets. And actually goes a step further. It goes, there's a vast network of bots that are artificially inflating Drake's streaming numbers. Now, we're going to talk about this because they kind of get in some technical details here. And I always, when someone files a complaint and they start giving numbers, right? And they're like, John buried the body under the barn. I'm like, it makes it sound to me like maybe you knew John, you know where the barn is. You know what I mean? So we're going to look at the specifics because they did kind of get in the weeds, which I thought was interesting. And then beyond that, as far as what's your proof here? And you don't need to prove everything at the pleading stage, right? When you just file it. But again, this is important. So actually, let's take a peek at that right now. Upon information belief, there's a voluminous information of which Spotify knows or should have known that between January of 2022 and 2025, a substantial percentage of Drake's 37, that's billion, right? Someone count all the zeros, streams on Spotify during that time were inauthentic and appeared to be the work of a sprawling network of bot accounts. And what's interesting in the complaints is that they're like, obviously there's a free tier on Spotify, and they go, because of the free tier,
That's exactly why he was so keen on complaining and so sure of what he was up against. That's why those that know couldn't understand why he would make all that noise as if all his streams were all 100% legit. Nobody with a half a brain believes that.
is what has allowed all the scamsters to go on and sign up and whatever, because you don't have to give a credit card. I don't necessarily want to encourage a platform to force people to give their credit card information, but they go, that's a big reason for this. In another example, the complaint goes on to say, in 2024, 250,000 streams of No Face from Turkey were VPN rerouted to appear as if it was from UK. And I'm just like, how do you know that? Where do you work? We're diving in because we're real curious. Another of the allegations was some accounts streamed for 23 hours per day. And I was like, all right, some people just stream nonstop for 23 hours per day. Do we believe that? I mean, some people do that. I might believe that a little bit more for your rainy sounds or something like that. But all right, 23 hours per day with less than 2% of the users responsible for 15% of the total streams. That's important. So less than 2% of the users of all those people were responsible for a total of the 15% of that full number that I just said. So I go, okay, there's some merit here. All right, so what they're saying again, Spotify's turning a blind eye, fake streams, and they're doing this because obviously Spotify gets paid not just from subscriptions. Spotify gets paid from advertisers, and it's good for the books if you can show that there's a lot of streams. You're like, look at all the activity. Look at how many people are using the platform and streaming for 23 hours straight because they love Drake so much. What they're really saying here is that, again, what Drake has been claiming for a very long time about Kendrick Lamar and that whole situation, which, by the way, he's appealing that. Did you guys see that? So a court came down, said, absolutely not. Haven't you had enough yet? And he said, no, I have not. And he filed to appeal. So, Spotify's response here has been, in no way does it benefit from fake streams. It's like, that doesn't even make sense. And Spotify is saying it invests very heavily into fraud detection. It penalizes artificial streaming. Again, I offered that at the beginning from my actual experience, right? As a lawyer, I'm like, I know you guys are getting penalized for it.
Oh, she's a lawyer. What you know about that? Let's see what her channel is. Shout her out, because she a lawyer. She'll really be on your head about her content. Let me see. Name of her channel is Top Music Attorney. That's the name of her channel. Top Music Attorney. Top Music Attorney. Go give her a follow. She got almost 200,000 subscribers. She booming.
It's automated detection of your fraudulent surge of traffic because you're advertising, digressing. And then, oh yeah, at the beginning of the year, I'm forgetting the timeline on this, when Spotify's like, now we're going to sanction you. Music distributor, record label, if we find out that your artist is juicing the numbers, you're going to have to actually start paying us a fee. Now, arguably, because we have lawyers, we have to deal with all this. So this is their response. They say, absolutely not. And in fact, do you guys remember we covered that one guy who was, the bad actor, $10 million that he had earned from doing the botted streaming scam. So I don't know, Ed, what do you guys think? It's like, are we believing Spotify here? And maybe it's, of all the bad acts that Spotify is alleged of, it did some of them, but maybe not this. I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. So in the lawsuit, they are seeking over $5 million in damages. Now, the way I'm reading this and interpreting this is that it's allegedly much more than 5 million, right? So couldn't this get into...
I was just about to say 5 million doesn't even seem to be scratch the surface of what people of this magnitude, the artists you're talking about. Like, I'm glad she went, before I get it out of my mouth, she was saying there must be more involved. Had to be.
To like the tens, if not hundreds of millions. So it potentially is a really big lawsuit. Now, I will say one thing, all right? As a litigator, as someone who is playing in class action lawsuits, as of right now, we're suing Suno and Udio. If you want to join those as a music creator, go to topmusicattorney.com. But what I'll say is that as I was reading this complaint, and if one of the lawyers who drafted this wants to reach out to me, I did catch something that's going to be a problem for you. So you should reach out, and I'd be happy to help on that. But real quick, on the second lawsuit, I had said it wasn't just music creators suing, but actually there's a second lawsuit. And this has to do from the consumer front, right? You guys are familiar with discovery mode, right? Not everyone has access to this, but it's kind of pay to play. So meaning you can get on Spotify's preferred algorithm, we'll call it, by allowing Spotify to take, I think it's 30%. So you get into the system, you plug and play some of the songs, Spotify pushes them to the ideal target audience, gets a little more traffic for you, right? And then in return for the songs that Spotify pushes for you, it gets 30% of the royalties. So that's how it works. Now, one particular person found out about this and wasn't too terribly happy. And this plaintiff filed the lawsuit saying, when I listen to the algorithmic discovery mode, what I should listen to, which I thought was based on my preferences, not on basically this deceit that Spotify is now just pushing the music it gets a percentage of. So that's the claim. I will say this. For the discovery mode, what I have heard consistently from independent music creators is that it made a huge difference. For one, going from tens of thousands of monthly streams up to hundreds of thousands of monthly streams just because they were on discovery mode. But obviously it's a trade-off. As always, with every single middleman and company that you hire and work with, they're always going to say, let me help you get more eyes. Let me help you do this. Let me help you do that. And I get a piece of the pie. I just released my second exclusive podcast, which I'm so excited about. This is the stuff that is not on the YouTube channel whatsoever. It's just on the streaming listen, which is also on Spotify. Go check it out on Top Music Attorney.
Shout out to the Top Music Attorney for sharing that little game, I guess. If you're looking to boost your Spotify presence, you need to go discovery mode. Just realize you late to the game if you ain't did it. It ain't nothing new, but it's available to them like it's available to you.
Giving a shout out right now to SPR in the streets, my niggas, Spotter Low, y'all already know what it is. Sauce and air.
I'm gonna say one thing, fuck Trump. It's no longer down with Trump, it's fuck Trump.
Wasn't that personal? Big shout out to SPR, Spotter Low. I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe, stay tuned, all that.